My first Tonight Show was in this studio, January 19th, 1968. My 89th.
Wow.
I was retired. Just when I was out.
They pull you back in. Yeah, come on. You are such a part of the Tonight Show's history, so thank you so much for coming back to the show. We're honored. Got 89th appearance on the Tonight Show.
Come on, 60 years in show business. Last March was the 60th anniversary of the great late Fred Willard.
Oh, yeah.
My best.
I love him.
We reported for work together at Second City. And it was the hottest, greatest thing. We learned we got 150 a week. And the sexual revolution was on.
Yo, wow.
A lot more fun than the Bolshevik or French revolutions. And so much less dangerous. No one was shooting at you. And
no.
It was before AIDS.
Yes.
The good old days of syphilis and gonorrhea. You know.
Yeah, that was a beautiful
Not
time.
so complicated.
No.
It was fantastic.
It really was. Also, you have a lot of history in this building. Saturday Night Live just celebrated its 50th anniversary. You were in the first season. You were in the, I think, probably...
Number 5.
The 5th episode.
Yeah, but that was in 77, the third year when I was the first customer in the cheeseburger sketch.
Yeah. When you were doing this, did you realize it would go on to be one of the most famous sketches? And what was it like working with Belushi and Bill Murray and Aykroyd?
They were great kids. They came to see me at the O'Keefe Center in Toronto, and they followed me at Second City.
You knew them in Toronto?
Yeah, they came to see me in a show and introduced themselves, and then I spent the night partying with Aykroyd and Belushi. They lived in a bar on a shelf or something. And they were unsupervised. They were unsupervised.
Wow.
And they were the best cast. They were so talented, those kids.
And fun.
I know that at rehearsal we couldn't stop laughing because it was so, you know when something is funny.
Yeah.
But I could never have known that it would last for 50 years. In fact, I gave Lorne the worst advice of all. Everyone was so nervous. It was live. Yeah. No one had done a live show in this building since Howdy Doody in 1953. A puppet show for kids. It's a puppet show for kids.
Yes, they know. Yeah,
from way back.
They know. They know.
Hello, kids.
They know. Yeah, they know. Yeah. They know. Yeah.
And, you know, he wasn't even a ventriloquist. He moved his lips. It was like, you know, he practiced.
He did move his lips.
He probably spent a lot of years on radio, the perfect medium for ventriloquism.
It's so
you know,
funny.
who can see? You move your lips.
First,
no,
great
hello,
medium.
howdy. Anyway, everyone was nervous. I said, you got to tape that. You can't do it live. Wop, wop, wop,
you can't do Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, and it turned out to be fantastic. But
yeah, that's hilarious. You gave him that advice.
But the first time I ever saw live entertainment, especially comedy, was in the so-called Borscht Belt. Borscht is a drink. It's beef
they know what that is. Yes.
No, it was a place in the early 20th century, rather, late 19th. Jews couldn't get, you know, to stay in a little farm in the upstate. They were not welcome. Yeah. And so these little farms started to take in guests, and it became an empire of vacation land. And non-Jews went, too, for the food. There was this, you know, masses of pot roast and stuff, you know, that came with a cardiologist, you know, this kind of food. And entertainment. Comedy was the king there, you know. Yeah. And there were 3 acts on a Saturday night. There might be refugees from the war, a lot of people with concentration camp numbers on their arm. A roller skating act, you know, Tanya and Lanya from Lithuania. And the guy would spin his wife in his teeth. You know, like, and the band is playing Lady in Spain in triplets, you know, dun 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 dun. And he's going like this, and her face is like this. You know,
that's
from the centrifugal
that's entertainment,
force.
Yes.
And then a singer usually worked in a supermarket during the week. You know, an amateur, just on the border, bad toupees, you know, like an arugula on his head. This guy gets. I'm a Polar. Too much vibrato. You know, bye, pretty little puppy. You know. And then the comedian. The comedian would come on with these They all sounded like Jackie Mason, you know. Yeah, you the kids, you two guys in the front row, you two bald-headed men, you put your heads together, you make an ass of yourself. But seriously. And they, for a half hour, these people forgot their problems with their children or their health or their marriage. And I thought, this guy shows up in his Cadillac. He does 2 shows in a night. He gets $300-400. What a high calling. You make people laugh, you know?
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
And that's where you go, that's what I
Yeah,
want to do.
I was also a lifeguard there. They say that's another story.
Were you a good lifeguard? Did you ever save anyone?
I did.
Oh.
I was an accredited Red Cross. I had it on my bathing suit.
Yeah.
And in between looking for girls around the pool, I had to, and they couple checks in. They were also Europeans with a tragic war thing, and here they were, Americans, and a nasty little kid. And the staff was all college boys, like I was, you know, and he sits on the luggage and he spits food, and they hated him.
Yeah.
And his parents tell me he can't swim, keep an eye on him, and he's in the deep end, and I keep on whistling him. He's in a tube, he can't swim.
Yeah.
And come back, you know, we'll come back. And
Yeah.
I turn away for a second, boom, he's not in the tube. And my heart, you know, I'm 17 years old. I jump in the water. I get him out. Half the pool, he vomits up. I saved his life, and everyone was making me a hero and all that.
Yes.
And his parents tipped me $5. Now, Jimmy, I'm not ungrateful.
No, of course, no, we're not saying that.
How did they come up with the figure? What was the conversation like? I don't know. How much are we giving him? 50? What am I, a millionaire? I don't know. How long have we had the boy? Let's see. There you are, young man. $5. I could have gotten 15 from the staff to let him drown. It was the most wonderful world. And this museum is in existence to remember that world. Yeah. Which was complex. Even movie stars like Elizabeth Taylor were at the Concorde, and Bruce Singers, and Will Chamberlain would go up there for the summer and work and play ball. It was a world that's gone, and it should be remembered.
Well, congratulations on getting this award.
Thanks.
You're the best. One of the best to ever do it. Please come back. This is 89.
Thank you.
Come back. We need
best band.
The best band right there. Absolutely. Robert Klein, everybody. Receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award this Saturday at the Borscht Belt Fest. More Tonight Show after the break. Stick around.